Hi, good evening, guys. My name is Adrian Ng. I'm your moderator and host for tonight. For those that find me annoying, yes, I'll be around and I'll continue to annoy you for a while. I'm not sure if you can see my screen, but I check it on my phone. I can actually well see the disclaimer. Uh, Disclaimer, yes. So just to make sure. Yep. So the disclaimer is for you to print it out, hang it on your wall, or you can actually choose it to paste in front of your, uh, toilet door so that you can actually reminiscent on that. And then the second slide I'm going to show you would be this. For those that have never joined, would hope that you can actually take up your phone, do a quick scan. It consists all of our um, social media links. It will be very easy to follow us on depending on which discipline you want it to be. And tonight the theme will be telco and the opportunities arise from this sector. That's where we are seeking, and we are very glad that we managed to engage a slot with our analyst, our senior analyst Kylie Chan, to be with us tonight to actually share her view and also to give us some depth into the sector. I might be an analyst in the past, but I'm pretty noob in the sector as well. So, as like I'm with you guys on the audience side, we shall learn this together. And tonight's session will be a bit chattier, a bit more casual. Where if I'm curious, I might ask a bit more question to Kylie. And the exciting part is we're gonna top it up with our warrant session, where Isabelle will be tuning in from a special state. If you all guys can guess where it is, or if you guys are in that town, probably you should join her tomorrow. All right. So without further ado, I shall stop my sharing and allow me for one more advertisement. And this advertisement is very, very interesting. This, of course, is the chart. I'm looking at TM so I can talk, right? And the next one will be my Bursa. Personally, I've registered for it. I've played with the interface. I find it very interesting. They have some auto-generative reports that you can actually check out. So for those that have not checked out, oh my God, yeah, Isabelle is in Sarawak now, Kuching. So yeah, this Kentrade website and my Bursa, do try it out. It's actually quite interesting. I find it helpful. So we can have probably a session one day that we go through it together. So without further ado, let's invite Kylie into the chat and we can start rolling.
Oh, okay. All
Hello,
right.
Kylie.
Hi, Adrian. Thanks for the intro. Good evening to everyone. I'm the telco analyst for Kenanga. I also cover media. But tonight we'll be talking about the telco sector. I wonder if you guys can see my slides or Adrian, can you see my
Not yet.
slides? Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Just give me a moment. Yeah. So
Yep, I
okay.
can see it now.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. All right. Finally, great. So yeah, I think I'll just dive straight in to.
To the
Okay.
song.
All right. So for the next few slides, we will present a recap on what happened in second Q of this year, and our outlook for the mobile and fixed market in terms of ARPUs and subscriber base. Okay, so this slide shows prepaid ARPUs for the MNOs. And in this case, it would be three players, Celcom, DG, Maxis. But of course, Celcom, DG, they have merged back in December of 2022. Yeah, but they still provide a breakdown. So now we can see how they compare to each other. So just Yeah, so in second Q of this year, prepaid ARPUs appear to have stabilized as it remained stable for Celcom and Maxis, but inched up slightly Q on Q for Digi. So we believe this implies that prepaid ARPUs may have troughed for Maxis and Digi in second Q, and this is after declining steadily from their recent peaks in 2022. So on the other hand, prepaid ARPU for Celcom is showing signs of peaking in second Q 2024 after rising steadily since first Q of 2022, right? So you can read all this from the graph. And so overall, we attribute this stabilizing prepaid ARPUs in second Q of this year to rationalizing competition as all the players scale back on their aggression to protect against further ARPU erosion. Hence, this is positive for Digi and Maxis, which has a larger proportion of prepaid users versus Telcom. So moving forward, beyond second Q of this year, we expect prepaid ARPUs to remain largely stable as major telcos are reluctant to engage in intense price wars with MVNOs, mobile virtual network operators, because in our view, yes, yeah, feel free to interject, Adrian, if you,
Yeah.
at any time. Okay.
Kylie, just
Yeah.
quick check because I'm relatively noob in this sector, right? Can you quickly just give me a rundown what is ARPU? I mean, it's really a noob question.
Oh, no question is new. Yeah, glad for the questions. Right, yeah, so glad that this is interactive and someone's paying attention. Right, yeah, ARPU is the acronym. It stands for average revenue per user. So I
Okay.
think yeah, so as you can see from this chart, it zooms in on ARPUs for the prepaid segment. So yeah, so you can see that it ranges from 20 odd to 30 plus for the prepaid segment. So it means that every month, this prepaid user will pay, for example, Celcom pays about 32 ringgit in second Q. And yeah, so I
Okay,
hope
okay.
that right, okay. So hope that answers the question. And as I was saying, moving forward, because this is the historical trend, so just my take on what will happen beyond second Q is I think competition would moderate as the major players they would rather cede prepaid market share and focus on the postpaid segment instead. Right. So as you can see from the graph, yeah, there's this, yeah, the arrow shows it will be stable for in the near to medium term based on our outlook and observations. Okay.
Okay, interesting.
All right. Okay, great. So next we have this right. So please bear with me. Yeah, we'll be this telco sector has a lot of statistics and data, so we'll just go through one by one each segment. Yeah, but when we move to the fixed segment, then it will pick up in terms of pace. But I think it's quite important that we understand postpaid, prepaid subscriber trends because these are because it's a very mature market. So these indicators they do matter when you want to understand how earnings would look like for these players moving forward, right? So this slide shows postpaid ARPUs. So as you can see from this trend, from the trend in the graph, it has they have sustained their quarterly decline in second Q of this year. And we believe this is slightly due to the MNOs, the mobile network operators, sustaining their strategy to encourage pre to postpaid migration. So ARPUs have progressively declined from their recent highs in 2022 to current levels. So this reflects the popularity of entry-level postpaid plans that the MNOs have introduced, which are priced as low as 30 to 40 ringgit per month. Okay, so looking ahead, we expect postpaid ARPUs to stabilize or decline slightly. And this is because we think their affordable entry-level postpaid plans will continue to be popular. And these plans will likely attract new lower ARPU users or encourage existing prepaid users to migrate to postpaid. Okay, so Right. Yeah. So I'll just move on if no questions. So this slide shows a prepaid subscriber base of the major players in second Q. So as seen in the graph, competition in the prepaid segment remains intense, and the MNOs had mixed performances in second Q. So comes Q-on-Q net subscriber losses, which has started in fourth Q of 2023. It moderated in second Q this year. However, DG experienced a significant increase in subscriber net adds in second Q, whereas Maxis outperformed, reversing its first Q net losses with quite a strong number of net adds in second Q. Right. So that is a recap of what happened. And moving forward, we anticipate MNOs will experience prepaid subscriber churn because, as what we've explained earlier, they now appear less willing to compromise on pricing to defend market share.
Okay, so the strategy like going forward for the major telco operator, I mean now it's like two major players, right? Celcom DG versus Maxis. The strategy will be converting these prepaid subs into the postpaid. And is it more sensible because they have a better consistency and also better margin by doing so?
Yes, you are right on that. Yeah, so I think it's quite obvious that postpaid because prepaid customers are less stickier, as you mentioned,
Mm,
right? They
mm,
so postpaid customers they typically sign 2-year contracts if they get a device, and so they provide a stable recurring income for these service revenues for these players. So, and as I highlighted earlier in the previous slides, the
mm,
competition in the prepaid segment is quite intense because there are a lot of MVNOs operating in this space because the barriers of entry are actually lower for them. So I think the expectations of customer service and from prepaid
mm.
users are also relatively lower versus postpaid, as in they are easier to serve with lower expectations, right? So what I'm trying to say is that the prepaid segment has competition there is more intense. So when there's competition, there would tend to be price wars, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that would crimp margins, like you mentioned, for the telco players, and so that's one high competition which compresses ARPUs and margins. So that is one of the reasons why telco players they would preferably focus on higher ARPU postpaid subscribers, which are more stickier.
So just backtrack a bit. The MVNOs are something like U Mobile, if I'm not mistaken. Are they along the line like that, or some like Tune Pro? Is it Tune Talk?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, that's right. Of course, U-Mobile probably has some towers. I mean, they don't reveal data on how large is their tower network. But yes, they do. Yeah, actually, even TM is a MVNO in the
Oh,
mobile space
okay.
as well, Unify Mobile, right? So, yeah, these MVNOs are. How you define MVNOs is that they don't actually own their tower network. They actually lease wholesale from the larger players,
Mm, mm,
yeah, such as CDB and Maxis, right? So
okay.
that's
Okay.
why, yeah, I mentioned that their barriers of entry are actually lower because they don't have to fork out as much capex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's very enlightening.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's great. So okay, so I was talking about prepaid subs.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, so this is it shows the postpaid subscriber base for the large MNOs. Yeah, just to differentiate between MVNOs and MNOs.
Mm,
So um, so if you analyze this chart, it shows that the MNOs continue to experience a healthy Q-on-Q traction in postpaid net adds. in second Q, both CDB and Maxis, they achieved robust net subscriber adds, and this is aligned to their strategy to focus on attracting postpaid users, as what we discussed earlier. And yeah, so they continue to encourage prepaid to postpaid migration on their existing subscriber base, and with this new entry level packages, they also attract new customers from whether it's from other networks. But of course, they come in at lower ARPU points, right? So in particular, if you zoom in on CDB, you can see that postpaid net adds have snowballed for them from 20,000 in fourth Q of 2022 before their merger to 118,000 in second Q of this year. So this could be attributed to improved brand perception post merger between Telcom and DG. So forward-looking perspective, moving forward, we believe as we look beyond second Q, we expect the MNOs to maintain healthy postpaid net adds momentum, and we believe this would be driven by their ongoing efforts to promote convergence plans. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to ask about convergence, please do. What is convergence plans? And yeah, so these MNOs have also been keeping prices low for their entry-level postpaid plans, like what we mentioned.
Is there any plans after conversion? Like, how would they sell like an AirAsia model, like top-ups, or to like try to boost a bit of the margins in that context once they have managed to get this crowd, right? Just thinking ahead.
Right. They do have prepaid. I mean, they do have mobile apps, and I think yeah, I'm not sure if they can reload via the app, but last we talked, they were planning to do so. Yeah, but anyway, I was talking about convergence.
Yeah, convergence.
Yeah, so were you referring to conversion or convergence?
Now this the part I need to check with you. What's the difference between conversion and convergence?
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, yeah, maybe I didn't articulate clearly. Yeah, I was talking about MNOs. They are now actively promoting convergence. I mean, there's conversion plans don't exist actually. So I mean, it doesn't. Yeah. So probably I didn't say it clearly enough. So so now convergence plans are triple or quadruple play. Meaning not only it means data, fixed broadband, mobile broadband, converged into one bundle. So
it's like a Happy Meal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
without the
I
toys.
get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So it's like they're trying to bundle up so that you get enticed to do a package deal to be stickier.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so there's a unified billing as well. So
Hmm.
right, so just you just need to pay once for all your plans. There's less organization by the customer. So yeah, that tends to attract customers to some degree.
Yeah, I would be attracted also, I mean.
Yeah, so it's more convenient, right? You don't have to remember
Yeah.
separately for each plan. You know, to pay the electricity bill, you have to pay
Yep.
water bill. Then now you have to pay fix. Yeah, now you just bundle it together. You just pay once, right? Okay, so I think all right. So okay. All right, so this is the last slide on ARPUs and subscriber base. So it shows that blended ARPUs. So in case you're wondering what is blended ARPU, it basically basically just means postpaid and prepaid blended together, right? Because previously there was a breakdown for each individual segment, prepaid, postpaid, and prepaid. So this blended ARPU, I think it's a more accurate reflection of the earning space for a telco as yeah, so because at any point in time you could have you could have post to prepaid migration, and it would affect your singular ARPUs for okay, so for example, now telcos, they are promoting pre to postpaid conversion upgrades, right? So so what it does, as we have seen with the earlier earlier price trends, this would result in lower postpaid ARPUs and probably prepaid ARPUs would be resilient or slightly higher, and that's due to the migration of these prepaid high-end prepaid users to low-end postpaid, right? So so I mean, you don't have to be concerned if your postpaid ARPUs are seen to be trending lower, as what we've seen earlier. It's because of this strategy that the telcos are actively pursuing. And I guess looking at the blended ARPU indicator instead, it would be a more accurate reflection of how how revenues are trending for telcos instead. So, right.
More reflective in that context.
Yes, right.
More
So
stable because the movement could shift in between, right?
Mm.
Yeah, okay, that's good. I mean, very good to understand.
Oh,
Easier.
okay. Oh yeah, so that's the thing with telcos. They provide so much granularity on data, so it might be confusing. Some data might contradict each other. So you have to analyze it in entirety to fully understand. So as seen from this graph, Telcom's ARPUs have inched up since first Q22. It remains mostly resilient, and this was largely anchored by the strength of Telcom's postpaid ARPUs. And for Maxis, blended ARPUs have largely been stable for the past few years. However, on the flip side, for DG, ARPUs have been on sequential downturn since first Q of 2022, although in the second Q this year, it finally inched up. And so moving forward in the near term, we expect an uptick in blended ARPUs for the MNOs, and it would be driven by increased subscribers on convergence packages and also lower discounts for prepaid plans. As what we mentioned earlier, they probably wouldn't want to compete so intensely. And so I think that's all I want to say about blended ARPUs. And now we move into
The
home
fixed line.
fiber. Yeah, the fixed line. Yes. So this slide it shows home fiber ARPUs for the MNOs, as well as the leading fixed operator, Telecom, TM. So in the second Q of this year, Unify's ARPUs they continue to weaken Q on Q, and the company explained that this was due to promotional discounts and the addition of new subscribers on entry-level packages. So if you look at CDB's ARPU, it also fell Q on Q this quarter, with while Max's ARPU remained resilient. So we believe these trends show signs of brewing competition in home broadband as the MNOs turn aggressive to attract subscribers to their convergence plans. So from third Q onwards, moving forward, we expect home fiber ARPUs to remain under pressure as all the players they continue with below the line discounting to snag market share, right? I think so if you look at each individual website on the pricing plans, they don't they prices have headline prices have been stable, but when you go to a reseller, then probably you will get, the first 6 months free. You will get some, so these are below the line discountings that, you wouldn't see, that wouldn't reflect in the headline prices. So this is what's happening in the fixed broadband market now for home users. Okay.
Yeah, good. You reminded me of my part-time job when I was a lot younger, working for these telcos, right? It's like when they got like X amount of subscribers, these distributors will enjoy a special bonus being paid out to them. Is it something like that? The discount?
Oh, I feel the discount is right. So Unify has, for example, Unify has a lot of dealers. So the dealer earns a margin. Sometimes they sacrifice their margins. So to attract new subscribers or to attract them to convert from to switch from a previous provider, then they would offer like first 6 months free, first 6 months, less 10 ringgit for every month, and yeah,
Okay.
and this would affect the revenues for the fixed players. And so the formula for ARPU is revenue divided by users. So in actual, your revenue is actually lower because of these discounts, right? So yeah, it would lead to weaker ARPUs if you with all these below the line discounts.
Okay. Better understanding on this.
Oh, okay. So yeah, hope that explains. So sorry. Okay, this is a graph on home fiber subscriber net adds. And so in second Q, Unify's net adds inched up Q on Q, which we think is due to the attractive discounts that we mentioned earlier. And for the other players, net adds in second Q also inched up sequentially. And from a forward perspective, we believe net adds for TM will continue to taper off while the MNOs will expand their market share. And this is underpinned by the MNO's strategy to promote convergence plans for customer retention. Okay.
Good.
All right. Okay. So we're done with our outlook on ARPUs and subscriber base. Next, we zoom in on service revenue opportunities for the sector. Okay.
All right, let's roll. 5G. Before you start, can I
Uh,
interrupt? I was just curious about this. I mean, recently I just joined the 5G network for DG or Celcom. I don't know. I'm on the DG side. So
okay. Probably
before
DG.
joining, I think the 4G is a lot more stable, but after that, it feels like a bit more iffy. Is it something that is a transition thing that is happening, or is it the coverage is just is building up?
All right. So you're saying that the transition from 4G to 5G, so during that period, then you would lose
Hmm.
coverage. Is that what you're implying?
It feels the coverage has been slightly weaker as compared to in the 4G mode.
I see. So
Hmm.
meaning 5G is
Less
um,
stable, lah. The feeling is like,
less stable.
hmm. It's like when you want to log into your
Mm.
WhatsApp to send a text, right?
Uh,
You won't have the connecting issue when you're in like 4G, but after jump on, I mean, this is just an experience, well, and might as well take the opportunity to ask you if you have encountered something like that, right?
all right. So okay, that would be okay. I know sometimes during transition, of course, I believe that sometimes it might not be seamless due to
Okay.
network transition, but I don't think the disruption should be very prevalent to users. So that
Okay.
is kind of alarming, probably. Not sure about that actually. Yeah, so
Never mind.
maybe yeah.
We'll get you to feedback them.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, sure. Right. Okay. So yeah, so the reason I brought up this slide is because as we all know, there's a limited growth in telco service revenues for the consumer segment. And this is because the retail market is approaching maturity or has reached saturation in Malaysia. We can see this from high penetration rates of 133% for mobile and 48% for home broadband. So therefore, in 2024, telco players, they have guided sluggish low single-digit growth in service revenues.
Hmm.
So and to date, as of first half of this year, mobile players, they have only achieved a 1.4% growth in service revenues, while fixed player TM reported flattish growth, right? So in spite of this, we anticipate telcos may still be able to grow, and this is via opportunities in other areas, which we have outlined in this slide and the upcoming slides, right? So for this slide, on the left column, you can see ongoing key trends that may translate to business opportunities for telcos. And on the right column, we have outlined the telco services that would benefit from higher demand due to these trends. So, for example, we believe that recent developments such as enterprise digitalization would lead to higher demand for managed services and cloud solutions. So, yeah, for the next few slides, we will zoom in on a few key services offered by telcos. And in particular, we will zoom in on wholesale bandwidth, managed wavelength services, probably, and 5G solutions as well. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So, uh, okay. Right. So this graph shows global internet bandwidth demand. So it has more than tripled in between 2019 to 2023. And moving forward, we believe that generative AI, generative artificial intelligence, will catalyze the next stage of internet traffic growth. And this is driven by enterprises archiving vast amounts of data on the public cloud powered by Gen AI to train proprietary foundation models or large language models. So, as internet traffic surges, we expect demand to rise for fixed operators that offer wholesale bandwidth services, either domestically or globally. So, this includes services such as standby bandwidth allocation, sorry, it's a bit technical, and indefeasible right of use IRU contracts. So fixed players like TM and Time.com, they have key assets such as terrestrial fiber optics backhaul and international submarine cables. So these digital infrastructure assets enable data transmission between public clouds on the internet and end users. So bandwidth capacity on these cables are leased to clients at specified IP transit rates.
Mm.
Okay, so yeah, I think maybe I should pause here
The
because it
wholesale, I
got a
mean,
bit
the whole
technical. Yeah.
trying to catch on this bandwidth thing. When we talk about wholesale, means the end customer is mostly enterprises rather than consumers, retailers, right?
Correct. Right. So, yes, there's a wide range of customers, but the main ones would be other carriers. Um, Other carriers, like for example, let's say Maxis wants to provide. Maxis has a fixed home fixed broadband,
Mm-hmm.
so they can buy the capacity wholesale from TM, which owns the fiber optics backhaul. This is just one example.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Right. Okay.
Understood.
Yeah. So the main so of late we have data centers that also lease data centers and also data center operators content providers such as TikTok, Netflix, um, Facebook. They probably have their own cables, but you know they do sometimes they do have to lease from others, including
Mm.
TM.
Like
So
Xiaohongshu also. Xiaohongshu, very fast.
yes, it is a content provider, and yes, they need bandwidth, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So yes, so Xiaohongshu's data centers, like I say, in Beijing needs to they need to transmit data to their users in Malaysia. So right, so how does this data transmit from their from their data center, from their DC in, let's say, I don't know, Beijing to,
Mm-hmm.
to KL, right? So they have to rely on these highways and which are
Okay.
global submarine cables. And once it reaches onshore, once it reaches land, then we have terrestrial fiber optics backhaul, right? So then to transmit the data.
Ah, okay. Now I can picture the route lah. It's like our north-south highway from KL to Thailand.
Yes, yes,
But you
yeah,
pay a toll for it lah. But it's a
yes.
special user, but not the mass lah. So the highway will still maintain pretty much a highway that's not too congested because the user are more enterprise and more controlled.
Right.
In mm,
Yeah, so Yeah, so hence, if you look at the last line on this slide, we talked about HSBA and IRU contracts. Yeah, so these are wholesale contracts, one-on-one between the the cable provider, right,
Yep.
or fiber optics or global submarine cable provider, and yeah, the content provider. So yeah, so the cable has so the cable capacity, they can actually segmentize it to multiple users. So yeah, I mean the North-South Highway, I mean that's a good analogy, right? But just imagine the North-South Highway and you have you have a major logistics company, like say DHL, leasing one lane, saying that this one single lane is dedicated to me. Like no other lorries or no other trucks can use this lane except for my DHL trucks.
So this will fall under the IRU, I suppose.
Yes, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, or
Okay.
HSBA, yeah.
Okay. So the HSBA is something like, let's say, if I have a search, then I have this standby bandwidth allocated for me lah. Is it more for search or more for a fixed kind of arrangement?
Okay, I'm not very certain about that, but right. So I think yeah, I think it's quite evident from the name that yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe you would have you would have multiple contracts and not just one HSBA contract. So let's say if right. So let's say if it's congested, then yeah, you can exercise your HSBA contract. I'm not very sure about that. Yeah, just speculating on that. Yeah, because these contracts, yeah, they are very
Highly confidential lah.
yeah, we don't get any information on what are the
Yeah.
transit rates and so forth, and what are the terms as well. So yeah, we
Okay.
don't get much information from the telcos on these.
So we have a quick question from Lishi from the floor is, does this bandwidth, how does it relate to the Malaysia partner companies? Probably, yeah.
Right. So, as we mentioned, TM, okay, so the major players that own these fiber optics backhaul and also global submarine cables are TM and Time.com, right? So they have a huge network. I don't have the exact capacity. I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head what's the capacity of the network, but yeah, they own these um, submarine cables and fiber optics backhaul. So if international users or other carriers they want to use it, then they have to pay a tolling fee. Yeah, which is IP transit rates. Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
I mean, it's really interesting because this is the first time I never thought that telco also got highway and tolls to
Yeah,
pay.
yeah, it's fiber optics highway.
Cool, cool.
Okay, so yeah, moving on to the next slide, yeah, so this graph here shows current DC capacity at Johor. So it's about 1,600 megawatt, and these capacities are at various stages of construction, which you can see from the graph. So as numerous new hyperscale DCs emerge in Johor, it is expected to propel DC capacity in Malaysia to surge more than 11-fold, about from 280 megawatts currently to 3.2 gigawatt by 2028. So, if you recall, there's a recent influx of investments in Malaysia for DC, cloud, and AI infrastructure. And this is by global DC operators and US-based tech giants such as AWS, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, and Google. So these three companies, they have announced investments of more than USD 10 billion in these areas. And on top of that, we also have international DC co-location operators announcing plans to set up shop in Malaysia. So we have major names such as AirTrunk, Princeton Digital, Equinix, to name a few. So as we mentioned earlier, these DCs, they need to transmit data at high volumes, at high speed, and low latency. And so they require a lot of demand. So they require a lot of cable capacity. right? So on the back of this, we anticipate higher demand for managed wavelength services, which enable global connectivity between hyperscale DC to DC. Right. So I think previously we mentioned HSBA and some standby bandwidth contracts, IRU contracts. So these are for wholesale bandwidth for services. But if you're talking about DC to DC connectivity, that is exclusive for the hyperscale DC operators. TM offers managed wavelength services.
Mm.
Yeah, so cloud providers, cloud service providers as well, they require these services as well. For the for transmission of data.
Data, yeah. So it's like they even connect the hyperscalers to the smaller ones, and then they retransmit out, something like that. Redistribute out. So,
I mean, this is managed. Uh, what we talked about earlier, wholesale bandwidth contracts. I mean, they're more generic. But yeah, they connect DCs to the internet. But for this managed wavelength, it's DC to DC. So your DC could be in Malaysia, in Johor, and let's say Meta opens a DC in Johor, and they also have DCs around the world, so they're all connected. All connected via these global submarine cables, and the terms of
yep.
use are governed under managed wavelength services contracts.
Very interesting. It's almost
Mm.
like a lease line in trading.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, actually, that's the best analogy instead of
Yeah.
the North-South Highway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, okay. So this.
Monetization, sexy one.
Yeah, but unfortunately, yeah, we think it's still early days. This chart shows the adoption of 5G services, and so with you on board, you've added to the number. But it's so as you can see from the graph, it's quite sluggish. So it's about 33% adoption rate currently as of second Q. So we don't think MNOs can monetize 5G in a significant way from the retail segment, for the reasons that we all know, right? Like we wouldn't pay extra for 5G, right? We would rather remain on 4G. 4G serves us well. We won't pay higher just to have right. So it's quite difficult to monetize from consumers, right? Because at this point in time, it's still early. We don't actually need that high-speed, low-latency connection that 5G offers,
Yep.
right? We've not entered the age where we are in the metaverse yet, where we need those handsets that, or if not entered the age where esports,
Yeah, esports.
yeah, can't function without 5G yet. So haven't reached that stage yet, but we're inching towards that. As content, I think as content providers, they increased they increase the data requirements. They upgrade their content, and so maybe it'll be, instead of Ultra HD, it would be I don't know.
8K, streaming 8K soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right. So
Then camsep retailers like me will be streaming 256.
but then you can't experience it in full, right? So so ultimately, who knows, you might have to pay, right? So so we believe that at this current state, revenue opportunities for 5G monetization it actually lies in enterprises, in 5G solutions for enterprises. For instance, this could include implementation of private 5G networks. So previously, the 4G spectrum, it's the frequency band doesn't allow for network slicing. Now you can have private 5G networks for your own private use, right? So there's also other 5G solutions such as implementing an automated drone fleet, smart traffic lights, telemedicine equipment, AI logistics management systems, like for example, a self-driving truck, and so forth. So now if MNOs, they would have to implement solutions instead of just selling bandwidth.
I think that would be a gist of the value add where if they're able to add the soft touch, then the stickiness from the enterprise will be pretty high, right? Because you don't onboard on just one solution and then you change it overnight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they probably have to sign, yeah, because the telco would be very much involved in the networking, in installing networking equipment, in
Yeah.
configuring the network for the client. They probably need to sign a longer term contract,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So, yeah, so I think that's the aspiration moving forward. And I
Mm,
think the
okay.
government is pushing for this as well because the government wants us to move towards the IR 4.0, right? To be, yeah, a technologically advanced economy.
Yep.
Okay, right. So, okay, we now move into the final
Ve-
segment of our presentation.
Very
So,
sexy part.
okay, I hope I don't disappoint. So, where we will highlight our sector strategy and stock recommendations. Okay, so this right, so this shows our strategy for 4Q, where we indicate our preference for fixed players, as they are expected to benefit from the ongoing DC boom, which we mentioned earlier. So, higher demand for wholesale bandwidth and wavelength services will be the catalyst moving forward. However, moreover, we believe that sentiment on mobile players will be subdued as long as the 5G dual network policy announcement is held back. So this is due to regulatory uncertainty that may impact our earnings, CapEx, and dividends for the MNOs. So yeah, maybe I should elaborate a bit more about the 5G dual network policy, just for the benefit of the audience, in case they haven't been tuning in. So to recap, to facilitate Malaysia's transition from the current 5G single wholesale network to the new dual 5G network, two entities will be set up, namely entities A and B. So entity A will take over the existing first 5G network, while B will develop the new second network. So both entities will be entirely owned by private telcos, which may include SCDB Maxis, YTL Power, U Mobile, and TM. So recall that four of them, except for U Mobile, have submitted bids to develop the second 5G network. Right. So moving forward, we believe that sentiment will finally improve once the government unveils the new 5G policy, as this will remove lingering uncertainty around all that we mentioned, the earnings, CapEx, dividends. So it will finally provide clarity on the future prospects of mobile players. So here the last point here, I outlined there would be a possibility that sentiment would be uplifted if the outcome of the dual 5G dual network policy is better than expected. So what constitutes a good outcome? In this, so in our view, it can be loosely analyzed in terms of firstly OPEX. Ideally, after the commercial launch of the second network, entity B shareholders who need to terminate their long-term 5G access agreement with the first network will provide fair financial compensation.
Mm,
Secondly, targets for the second network in terms of timeline and 5G coverage should also be reasonable. Otherwise, it could drag on entity B's cash flows and hence capacity to pay dividends. And
yeah.
so lastly, we hope that the first network will turn out to be profitable and cash generative in the medium to long run. It will also be desirable if it has a healthy balance sheet with robust cash flows.
Just to interrupt a bit, Kylie, just quick
Okay.
ones. Like,
Mm.
how would how would you have imagined the size of the capex for both the first and second network combined if it does happen on a very conservative basis? What kind of value of capex would be seen
Right.
for?
Yeah, so there are a lot of moving parts to that. So it also depends on how fast the government wants the entity B to implement the second 5G network,
Okay.
right? So, yeah, so if they, I mean, earlier they have indicated that there would be a 2-year timeline for them to achieve 80% population coverage, to match the first network. So, I guess, okay, so I mean, I don't have an estimate on the CapEx requirements, but historically for 5G rollout, each telco spends about 1 billion a year,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, for 4G rollout. So we expect it to be probably 1 to 1.5 billion, depending on how fast the government wants it,
So
wants.
at least on the ballpark, we know that this around a figure where it could be either be used for other purposes like dividend or how they want to repatriate or reinvest the money lah. Is on an annual basis about a ballpark figure to think about, but it's just something on a moving scale because there's nothing firm up yet from the government.
Yeah. So
Okay,
yeah, I think
okay,
the
that's good.
telcos will, yeah, as you mentioned, I think the telcos will try to achieve a balance between managing CapEx requirements, dividend requirements, and also, yeah, business as usual CapEx.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so I'm actually done with this slide. All right, so this chart shows the historical forward EV/EBITDA valuations for telco companies that we cover. So as we mentioned, we believe stock valuations for the MNOs will recover once the new policy on 5G is revealed. So if you zoom in on the graph, average forward EV/EBITDA valuations for the MNOs have dropped 20% from 11 times in February 2021 to current levels of about 8.7 times. We believe this was due to the announcement of the single wholesale network model, which gave rise to a variety of concerns, including the potential of weaker earnings due to expensive 5G access payments. However, these concerns were proven unfounded. They did not they did not prove to be true, as the EBITDA margins for the MNOs, they remained resilient, in spite of having to pay additional 5G payments for, for the first network. So we anticipate that in future, MNO valuations may finally recover after the 5G policy is unveiled. Okay.
Okay. So looking at this valuation table, right? Clearly that Axiata is trending down, while TM is looking to pick up. So if the average is on the scale of closer to 8, 7-ish to 8, there might be a chance for a re-rating. Do you think a re-rating potential for TM? Or do you think that you might want to jump to TM now?
All right. So yeah. So okay. So TM basically, TM has always traded at a discount to the MNOs, right? For various reasons, right? Because yeah, MNOs, they, I think their revenue visibility is better, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because TM, aside from Unify provides them stable recurring revenues. But however, there are other businesses such as wholesale and and enterprise, they tend to be quite lumpy and quite unpredictable. So it has always traded at a discount. So to answer your question, I think TM will re-rate for other reasons, being that historically, I don't think that they because moving forward, I think they would benefit from the DC boom, as we mentioned earlier. Yeah, but to answer your question, I don't think I think the valuation gap between TM and the MNOs would narrow because of that. Um, uh, right. So, but not just saying that, yeah, TM is not directly comparable
The
to
MNOs.
the MNOs. That they actually, yeah, actually quite different animals.
Okay,
So
okay. All right.
yeah, so I think, okay, I've reached my last slide. Yeah, so basically, I just outlined my stock recommendations for the sector. Top pick is TM. I won't repeat I won't repeat again, yeah, that long-winded story of how I believe they would benefit from from bandwidth contracts. The other stocks also have outperformed recommendations except for Maxis.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I'll just leave all this for your reading pleasure.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'll end my presentation here. I'll pass the time back to you. Or
Okay. Okay.
Ray,
Thanks,
we
Kylie,
can go on
for
Q&A.
the Thanks, Kylie, for the very informative session. And I'm really sorry if I interrupted quite a bit because it's actually very interesting to learn about the telco sector. While it's a bit proven to be a bit more technical. Uh, yeah, but let's just jump into Q&A from the
Mm,
floor. If
okay.
there's any Q&A from the floor, guys, you can actually type it here. Let me start get the ball rolling. Hi.
Should I stop sharing?
You can, or you can just leave it here. Yeah,
Oh, okay, sorry.
whichever works. So I think the pick on TM is managed on the fiber optics that they can actually manage for the wavelength and riding on the data center and the demand of generative AI in the future. But on the scale for the Celcom and DG will be more probably on the synergies that are looking to drive from the savings, right? Because looking at the ARPU from DG itself, they are really, really low. and and if they can actually synergize really well, that means on the cost saving itself would have lifted the merged entity a lot higher, right? In that
Mm.
context.
Oh yes, definitely. Right. So, um, yeah. So, I think, as you rightfully mentioned, TM's catalyst is on bandwidth contracts, but
Hmm.
for the MNOs, I think the reason for the outperform calls are due to a recovery in sentiment after
Hmm.
the government unveils the 5G dual network policy, which would remove regulatory uncertainty and the impact on earnings, dividends, and capex. The merger synergies are a potential catalyst for CDB, and so far we have seen some traction. So
Hmm.
yeah, maybe I just go back to the slide. Um, okay, should I? Okay, I'll just share. Um,
Yep. Can
Yeah,
see.
so they have achieved net merger synergies of about 701 million ringgit in the first half,
Hmm.
and they target to reach MPV of 8 billion in synergies over 5 years. So the first 2 years, we couldn't really see the synergies in the first okay, so they actually merged in completed the merger in end of November of 2022. So it's only been 18 months since the merger, and we margins have been resilient, but we believe that moving forward, the merger synergies will improve, as in there will be uplift there'll be more upside risk for earnings and margins,
Hmm.
because during the first year, they have recognized very hefty VSS and accelerated depreciation costs. So these are the main costs that have dragged on merger synergies, because, uh, right, so yeah, manpower cost is the largest cost component for the merged
Hmm.
entity, and also depreciation. So having that moved out of the way forward, the company did guide for more tangible for more tangible evidence of their merger synergies, the
Hmm.
removal of the earlier
Hmm.
cost drag.
Okay. Okay. Meaning that after almost a year, this the subsequent 6 months that we are seeing the savings starting to kick in after they're done with the VSS, and it's gonna look a lot rosier as we go along and to see the synergy happening. That's
Yes,
good.
Yeah, if all goes well and according to management's guidance, right? So accelerated depreciation was a major drag as well, in addition to BSS.
They kind of kitchen sink it and accelerated it so that going forward is smoother.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so you
Okay.
can see a marked decline in depreciation in the first half of this year.
Okay. Cool. Hello guys. Are you guys shy? You have you have you guys have any question, or did I ask too much along the session tonight? Hello. Okay.
It's not
Probably they
competitive.
are really shy, or maybe I just asked too much along. Yeah. So you know what, Kylie? Jit actually
You have
raised his hand. Jit, do you want to type in the chat box so we can quickly read it out for you? 1, 2. Probably Jit wanted to give you a clap.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah,
Jit, for that. It's very kind.
yeah. So you know what, Kelly? Let's not keep you around since you're still in the office. Uh, shall we let Kylie go? I think so. Thanks a lot, Kylie, for the session. That's very enlightening, especially for beginners like me that is looking into the sector. And from a technical standpoint, I think the telco sector has been quite a laggard as compared to the banks. And with the news that is actually coming up, I think it's worth quite a relook in that context. Yeah.
All right,
So,
thanks so much, Adrian and everyone. Yeah, it's been fun. And
yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, Kylie. So, without further ado, I think we can invite Isabelle to the stage. Hi.
Pleasure, ready.
Oh, nice library.
Hey, thank you. I'm actually all the way, I'm going to put on my virtual background shortly, but I'm all the way in Kuching. We're getting ready for tomorrow's big Warrants Day happening over here, and that's going to be really exciting as well. So I'm just showing you the background a bit of our lovely HOB's home, who has lovingly housed us for the next few days. So that's a pleasure.
Ah, nice. How's the weather?
Yeah. Oh, it's lovely. But of course, you'll be joining us for the one in Sabah. So I think that'll be very exciting too, Adrian.
I'll be diving.
You're
Okay.
starting your dive trip early, are you?
Okay, let's roll. And I think Isabel can teach us how to stretch our dollar further with the use of warrants.
Yeah. But thank you everybody so much for joining us here today. Adrian, I love that chat that you had with Kylie just now. I have to say that, I love that bit where you mentioned our views are like happy meals. Everything is bundled together. I think that was a nice way of putting it. I always like how you simplify things for the retailer, Adrian. So thank you. And a big thank you to our invited speaker as well.
Nice.
Yeah, but let me just share my slides for a moment. But how are things in KL?
Well, the weather is erratic, and Lishi is already excited if there's any replay for the Warrants Day in Sarawak.
Oh, interesting. We do have a great speaker tomorrow as well. We've got our new head of research for Kenanga.
We can't keep
Who
him a
is
secret,
that?
right?
No, we want to share. So just so the participants here today know, for our quarterly research, which happens every quarter, we have our head of research, who is previously it was Joshua. He's still with us, but we have now Peter, who's going to be sharing with us his outlook on the Malaysian market and the global market. And every single month, we have these special curated sessions for tech outlooks, telco sector outlook, oil and gas sector outlooks. So thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Tomorrow we also have a Mandarin session for warrants, right?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
So, all right, I'll just show the last bit of my slides then. I was going to keep this as a reminder for you guys. So tomorrow we do have an upcoming session with our warrants issuer, Isaac. That's in Mandarin and that's for public. Over here. Dun, 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 dun. Hello, Isaac. Handsome fella he is. Isaac.
Very pro.
Very pro. And if you happen to be in Sarawak or your friends in Kuching as well, please join us for a physical event that's happening tomorrow at Commons Old Courthouse at 6:30 p.m. We've got our brand new head of research, Peter
Is he
Kong.
Korean? Is he Korean?
He's about as Korean as you are. Handsome dude. And then there'll be me as well speaking about structured warrants. So that's happening tomorrow. We've got a busy, busy week and we've got a lovely team. Megan, Fionn, Sarah, yourself, all very supportive. So it's going to be a great week for everybody in the market.
Not bad. Market not bad. Okay.
All right. Let's get started
already.
then. Thank you for your excitement, Adrian, and appreciate the warm welcome. All right, so earlier, just now Kylie spoke about a few interesting trends that's happening in the telco sector, but right now I'm going to cover structured warrants. Now, previously, we did it in a very academic, educational style, if you have joined me for the last few sessions in the past few months. But today is going to be a tiny bit different because we just finished a beginner and advanced structured warrants in English last month. You can catch the video replays on YouTube. Today, I want to teach you a few more actionable things that you can use via our Telegram channel. I see Ko Li Shu. Hey, thank you so much. We are not recording tomorrow's session with Peter, but I do invite you to join Isaac's session tomorrow. If you understand Mandarin, to all of you over here, do join that. But yes, so the first thing is, I just want to share a bit about our Telegram channel that we have. If you haven't joined it already, I know warrants are very academic and they are very complicated trading tools. However, there are different things that you can use to help your journey along. And today I'm going to cover a bit more on what the Telegram channel can offer you that you may not have realized so far. So yes, if you join, we have our link over there. You can press Naga Warrants, or if you kind of forget all the time, you can just go to our website over here, nagawarrants.com, and on the top, let me show you, right over there on Naga Warrants, you can just press this button over here. This is our public channel, and this is a private chat. So if you ever have an SOS emergency during market hours, you just need to SOS that private chat, screenshot your problem. Please screenshot so we know exactly what you're talking about. Whatever is going on during market hours, and we reply to you in, I won't even say minutes, within seconds. So let's say I go to this button, I press it there, it links me there. I just pressed it on the spot. So we have a lot of different content on this. As you can see with other issuers, some of them have different content, but I'm going to show you what's so special about our Telegram channel that we've curated for you. You'll see a lot of little things, 1,000 over photos that we've posted up, but today we're going to break it down and see how you can get an advantage while trading. So number one, the first thing that the Telegram channel that is most useful for warrant traders would be the weekly trading idea. What I've done today is I've put, let me use my trademark favorite color pen. Yay. All right, so for here, you can see that part, the Malaysian flag. That means I'll be talking about Malaysian warrants, and then I'll be covering Hang Seng as well, and I have a Hang Seng flag, a Hong Kong flag up. So let's say the first thing is every single week, every Monday, if it's a trading week, if there's a public holiday like this week, it'll be the following market day. Before 9 a.m., there'll be a trading idea for that week. If there is good response, please put it into our key takeaways. We're giving away a bunch of Shopee vouchers if you can write some really great feedback for us, constructive feedback, so we can improve our Telegram channel. So let's say we have a trading idea. This idea was initiated on the 1st of July 2024. And what happened was it actually hit the TP. So let me zoom in for you because I know some of you are on your phones. What we wrote from our Kenanga research was that there was this arrow that means that hasn't happened yet. Support 1 was at 360 over here. Support 2 was at 350 over here. And the resistance was at 395. So then we just drew these lines to make it easier for you because I'm a very visual person. So what happened was we write the probability. It was a high probability. And we recommended a specific warrant. You can, of course, choose whichever warrants that you like. But mainly, I recommend our warrants because, yes, I am a tiny bit biased, but because I know the product is good. And of course, whenever you have any issues at all, you can call us. The fact that I haven't been receiving many calls in the last few months means we're doing pretty well. And I'm glad to see that. We've got fantastic market volume, market value, and we haven't heard many complaints on that at all. So for this, what happened was 1st of July was when this idea came out, right? This is on our Telegram. The date was right there, 1st of July. And this was the arrow 1st of July, right over here. This candle over there. It actually hit the TP of 395 and above, and that was roughly on the 10th of July. That means it was just 9 days later, barely 2 weeks later. And if you had bought Inari, that would have been great. Inari went from 368 to 397. That's an 8% ROI. But the reason people are interested in structured warrants is because of the effective gearing that they can offer. So what happened was the ROI was 22%. Interesting. Let's try another trading idea, shall we? So we had this trading idea, UWC, and we have these every single week. So we try to keep tabs on them. What I want to show you about this trading idea was that it was initiated on the 9th of July, and this was the screenshot on 15th of August. Somewhere here, right? That's when I screenshot it. What I want to show you is that UWC, the idea was 295 support over here, 285 support 2 over here, 350 resistance level over there. You can just see technical analysis, support and resistance lines. And UWC did go up from 306 around there when we issued the idea, this candle, right? Same candle, all the way, and it broke the 320. However, it did retrace. And the easy thing is, not every single idea is going to be magical, right? But the idea behind these trading ideas, they increase your probability of success. That means you know that there is a possibility, a very high possibility, this stock might be moving. However, it might not hit the high, but if you know some basic technical analysis where you're just drawing support lines over there, which is the blue color line over here, you would see that it broke past the moving average, it broke past the support line, and therefore it is time to exit. And you would have still made a chunk of cash on that from 306 to 320 over. Another example would have been our public bank idea that we issued on 5th of August over here. And what happened was public bank. The support was at 415, resistance at 450, and the idea was dated on the day that we gave the idea, it was 428 on the mother share. Now, what happened was by the 20th of August, Public Bank did have that phenomenal spike, and it did go to above 466, which was above the target price, which is great. Bonus profit, we all like that. So if you actually bought Public Bank, or actually, sorry, this idea was initiated on 5th of August. Typo. So let's say Public Bank went from 428 to 466. That's a 9% ROI on the underlying if you had bought the mother share. But if you were looking at structured warrants, Public Bank C1F that was recommended went up 64%, 11 cents to 18 cents. So that is the reason why people are interested in structured warrants. And like I said, you might not have not been able to catch that previous idea. Let's not look at the hindsight 2020, but we look forward. So there were tons of ideas. We did a RHB Bank as well, dated 26 August, right? And on that date, we shared that it was 580, 610, support, resistance, and continuous uptrend probability was high, so the resistance level. And as you can see, same thing, RHB Bank. We even wrote a congratulations traders post because we're really happy when you guys make money. Underlying 4% RHB, RHB C55, 23%. Now, yes. So that's the number one thing that you're going to learn if you join our Telegram channel. You'll see a lot of trading ideas come up to you by our lovely people from Kenanga research side. And you can see our weekly trading idea for Hang Seng as well. I put the Hang Seng flag, the Hong Kong flag over there. We do the same thing. And for Malaysian stocks and companies, we might choose a different one every single week, but every single week we will always cover Hang Seng on the top of the week. So you can see this was the 9th September, the second most recent one. And same thing, we talk about the uptrend, downtrend probability, the resistance levels, the support levels. So you get it, right? Number one and number two, the most interesting things about this Telegram channel are the trading ideas. So if everybody is okay, please press okay in the chat. If you're not okay, please press don't know. IDK, I don't know what you're talking about, Isabelle. The next thing I'm going to cover right now is number 3, the daily Bybit promotions. So we issue this every single day. The weekly trading ideas we do once a week, right? If you'd like more, please put that into the Facebook link that I see over there. We want to hear your feedback. But daily Bybit promotions are for warrants that have a lot of interest in them. They might not be the key trading idea for the week, but we see a lot of people interested, and maybe sometimes these warrants might have many ticks. So what do I mean by many ticks? We're going to cover Hang Seng warrants first, over here. Now this was 9 September's post. And for the daily Bybit promotions, what it really means is popular warrants available to buy at bid price. Now, how do you engage in this? I see a bunch of okays. All right, I'm going to roll on. So for Hang Seng warrants, HSICX6, the fire means that it's our most popular warrants. For our Hang Seng warrants these days, yes, we're market leader at the moment. But what that really means is we have about 100 million units being traded every single day. So it is immensely popular. And we are very pleased with that. But I want to make sure that you guys have the best deal as well. So Hang Seng HWS, we'll be covering these two in a moment. As you can see, this one is 6 cents, 60 ticks, 16 cents, 30 ticks at that time. Now we're going to go look a bit deeper into what that really means, because this is a dated one, but I'm using today's matrix, which is 18 September, no longer 9 September. And as you know, time value decay, but let's just use that example today. So what this really means is for HSI CX6 here, it means the Hang Seng underlying bid, Hang Seng underlying ask, the 6x6, what a tongue twister, right? HSI CX6, that's the warrant's bid price over here, and the warrant's ask price. If I zoom in a bit further, what this really means is, how do I calculate how many ticks this warrant is? For Hang Seng, it's a bit trickier, and I'll show you how. 18063 minus 1801111, so that's about 50 ticks, 52 ticks, but I'll just say 50 ticks. An easier way to calculate is just you minus the ones that are round numbers, right? So that's about 60, touching 70, 66 ticks or so. Here, about 32 ticks. So it's very varied when you look at Hang Seng Index, the ticks. And what happens when it's on buy bid? It means if you queue maybe about, let's say here, if you wanted the warrants at 5.5 cents, if you queue 18012 to about 18014 or 18015, even if it doesn't touch 18012, us, the issuance team and Naga Warrants, we will actually hit that price at 5.5, subject to our own availability and whether we are keen or not. But that's what buy bid means. And now for HSI HWS. One of my favorite bands at the moment is Blackpink. So if you ever forget, black is for call, pink is for put warrants, you know, pink for puts, right? And let's say same thing as well. So the way you look at this matrix is it goes from low to high. And you realize that the warrants actually they increase in price this way. So when call warrants go up, when the underlying goes up, call warrants go up. For put warrants, when the underlying goes down, then the opposite happens. And same thing, if you want to know how many ticks it is, you just minus. So I can tell us about 30 ticks or something like that, right? Easy. So that's the buy bid promos for Hang Seng Index warrants. Now, 9:20 already. I want to cover this really fast. For Malaysian, I have my Malaysian flag over there. We're back to Malaysian. So for example, Kylie just now, she spoke about Axiata. So I used the Axiata C1H example at 7 cents. When I screenshot it just now, it was already 8 cents. So I can tell that for this whole matrix, if I zoom in for you a tiny bit, let me just get a bit clearer over here. I know warrants require all this drawing on it because it is tricky, isn't it? Imagine if I couldn't draw and I had to explain it word by word, I would go crazy. So underlying bid, underlying us, Axiata C1H bid, Axiata C1H offer. For example, if you queue at the bid price, which is here, when the underlying is 250, 253, 8.5, 256, this is what it means by the bottom of the matrix. The bottom of the gray or the bottom of the white. So if you queue over there, then the issuer may just hit you and you'll be able to get 8.5 cents, for example, instead of having to buy the offer at 9 cents. So it is almost like you are breaking even rather than having to lose 1 tick or half a cent at every purchase. So that's why it's so important to look at these daily buy bid promos, because you can get a better price for the same product. And we also have FFBC6, Maybank, Mr. DIY, MyEG, YTL. For buy bid promos, it does not mean that we have neither a positive or a bullish view on the underlying. Unlike our trading ideas, we do have a stronger conviction. For buy bid promos, sometimes it may be just simply the fact that YTL C91, that warrants. All right, for no prizes for this one, who can tell me how many ticks is YTL C91? Let's just use this white area over here. How many ticks is that? Anybody? Come, let me see some of you brainiacs. Some of you have attended my sessions tons of times. How many ticks is YTL C91? Lee Seng Guan says 10. And an easy way to look at it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. So sometimes there might be too many ticks on a warrant. And I find it very difficult to trade these kind of very out of the money warrants, right? They are out of the money because YTL Power and YTL have come down so much, but sometimes people are interested in buying these warrants. So instead of saying you're forced to buy a warrant that is 10 ticks, 9 ticks, at the last two levels for a 10 tick warrant, if you queue around here when the underlying is 250 or 249, you can get YTL C91 at 3 cents if it's on the buy bid promo. All right. Next thing on the Telegram channel, we share Hang Seng Index when our rollover dates are. And you have to remember that every issuer has a different rollover date. For example, our other Hang Seng Index provider, which is Macquarie, they may have a different index rollover date, contract rollover date from Kenanga's. So please, if whatever warrants you're trading, for me, I like it when you guys make money. So if you happen to be trading a Macquarie warrants, you need to look at the Macquarie Telegram. If you happen to be trading a Kenanga Naga warrants, look at the Naga warrants Telegram. Number 5 that we share on the Telegram channel are new issuances, where it's a calendar. So every single month, like clockwork, we issue about 24 warrants in the market. And these can be Hang Seng warrants. For example, our latest issuance, this was batch 15. We also write what was our most popular warrants in the previous month. CWA, we've got CWAA, HSI Qua, and HSI Qua. 2 calls, well, 3 calls, 3 put warrants, Ecovest, Genetech, 99 Speedmart, Genting, Gen M, Senfong, Supermax, TSH, UEMS. So that's the new issuance that comes out. So the first place that it gets published is the Bursa website and our Telegram as well. And of course, there are expiry reminders for all these Naga warrants that we issue. And this is September's calendar. The reason that we have this exceptionally great calendar is because sometimes we just need a visual representation and a reminder. Even though I always say put the reminder on your phone, a good way to remember is to just look at the expiry reminders. And let's say I'm holding Renhill CD, for example, over here. Even though Renhill is expiring on Monday 23rd, expiry, it is so important to note that the last trading date, it is 2 days before the actual expiration date. That means even though on the the term sheets of Renhill or let's say SciPark CA or Hyaptech CA, the term sheet says expiry date is on 23rd September. But the last trading date is actually here on Thursday, 2 days before. So remember that so you can actually exit your positions. Same thing, coming up end of the month is on Friday. I'll use a different color pen. Friday 27th. However, even though that's the expiry date, the warrants are suspended on Wednesday. So really important to remember that. And I figured this is the easiest visual representation to come up with that we can see when the difference is between an expiry date and a last trading date. And finally, my last slide, upcoming events. We've got Isaac's Mandarin session happening tomorrow. You can join the button, which will send out the link onto the chats in a moment. And if you're in Sarawak, I'll be seeing all of you at the Commons or Courthouse at 6:30 p.m. And we're going to have our special guest speaker, Peter Kong. He's our new head of research, who Adrian says, hello, Korean. And we've got Isabelle, that is me. And that wraps up my session. If you have any questions, Yuan, let's get to you then. Are there any questions? Feel free. Adrian, you can ask any of the questions that you like. But for Yuan, the easiest spot to find term sheets for warrants, all of this is a Bursa listing requirement. So they actually have asked us to put one of the listing requirements for an issuer is to have a standalone website, number 1. Also, to issue their BP and term sheets on the website. So let's say if I go to Naga Warrants here, As you can see, this is the website. I'm going there live right now to show you, Yuan. I just need to press, which side is it under? Naga Traders. Where's campaign? Naga Edu, Naga Traders. And then if I search over there, I can actually see the term sheets. So they're all on the website. Ding, 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 ding. There you go. Term sheets on the website. And you just sort by the warrant that you're looking for, like the ones that I mentioned just now, 99 Smart, CCCD. You can just download the term sheet. And there you go. And term sheet covers all of this. Every single warrant we issue, there is a term sheet up. It will cover the terms, risk factors, supplemental general information, all the things. I won't go through it, but you can read this document. And that's where you find the term sheet, Yuan. I hope that answers your question. Any other questions, or have we covered it pretty easily? All I want to cover today are tools on helping you as a trader in the real world cover it, because I've realized we've never actually broken down the Telegram channel for you. So this is the first time we're doing it today. Hey, thank you, Yuan. Good question. And the same place is where you can get the base prospectus as well. And the same thing goes for other issuers. I hope that helps. Any other questions? So number one, I covered weekly trading ideas for Malaysian. Number two, I covered Hang Seng Index futures trading ideas. Number three, the Bybit promos over here. Number four, I mentioned Hang Seng rollovers. Number five, new issuance expiry. Number six and seven, well, number seven, upcoming events. Well, I guess today everybody's a bit pooped out and it's 9:30 p.m. on the dot. Over to you, Adrian.
Thank you, Isabelle. I shall tune in to Isaac's session tomorrow. I wish I can have a tally session on the Sarah Warren's Day, but I guess it's a physical session for a reason, right?
Yeah, because if not, even Kuchingites, I know the tendency would be to just zoom in, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes even if the events, if I'm living in KL City and the event is in Pavilion, I might feel a bit lazy to go. That's just human nature. All of us have been spoilt by COVID.
Yep. But since there's a long day ahead tomorrow, shall we wrap this up tonight?
Lovely. And thank you so much, Sarah. You've got, she's posted our 3 key takeaways. All I want to do is, if you have 3 key takeaways, how you think you would like to see other things on the Telegram channel, or you think it's a great idea, we have these brand new trading ideas that Adrian helps to curate as well. Please just put them onto the Facebook, and we'd love to hear some feedback from you guys.
Sounds good. Okay, let's sign off for today. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thanks, Isabelle, for actually signing in from Kuching, and better get some rest for tomorrow's day.
Thank you. Appreciate it. See you in the office soon, Adrian.
Okay, bye. Good night, guys. Love you all. Bye.